I think Ryan Garcia is demon-possessed.
Or the proud owner of a solid schizophrenia case.
Welcome to the Sports Bimbo podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Stella K.
And I'm Nia Chai.
Okay, Ryan Garcia, fully possessed by a demon. That's my take. I think he won because the demon that was possessing him had superhuman demon strength, because Ryan Garcia proudly said before the fight, he would have said it during the fight if he was allowed to tweet. After the fight, I drank every night, I smoked every night, I partied, I had sex, I did whatever I want, and I still won. So ordinarily, I feel like someone who's not focused, that wouldn't be the case. They'd be gassed, they'd be blown up, their cardio would be bad. We didn't see that from him at all. He was amazing, and I think it's because of the demon.
He was locked in. There's no way that he was not possessed by that. And he was almost bragging about the drinking and the drugs and the sex and everything.
He was bragging.
He was saying, I did all this and I still won, so...
He's basically saying, like, that's how good I am. But, I mean, that's not really how it works physically. You know, if you're, like, out of shape, he was like, he didn't make weight. We were making the jokes that he needed Ozempic.
3 pounds. That's all he needed was one shot of Ozempic.
And I'm sure that by the fight, he fully weighed like 250.
He dwarfed Devin entirely. He looked so much bigger. Not that Haney didn't look good, but Ryan looked built.
Devin Haney looked minuscule.
He did.
Compared to Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia looked like he was in a different weight class.
Absolutely.
And clearly a different height class.
Okay, can we talk about that?
Can we talk about that?
So when we were watching this fight, we were like, it says what does it say he is, 5'9"?
Yeah, so he's billed at 5'9".
We're talking about Devin Haney. It says that he is 5'9", but it's very similar to driver's licenses where you're not getting weighed in regarding your height. You can just tell them whatever you want within reason, I'm pretty sure, because I can name a few different fighters where you look at them and you're like, that's not your height.
Yeah, fully. I mean, my driver's license says I'm like 10 or 20 pounds lighter than I actually am.
Right. So that's the UFC with height. Or boxing with height, I'm sorry.
I mean, a lot of entertainers, wrestlers do it too. There's a wrestler, I won't name his name because it's too close to home, but I think he comes out at like 170. They'll be like, you're coming from blah, blah, whatever, weighing in at 170. And I promise you, this guy weighs like 120 pounds.
No kidding.
Like, do they
not do weigh-ins for wrestling?
You just claim it.
No kidding.
Say whatever. Mine would be such a lie. It would be like, and Stella K coming in at 99 pounds. They're like, bitch.
That's awesome. I wish I was a wrestler. I'd say I'm 23 pounds. I'm just a little girl.
Nia from Las Vegas. Weighing in at 20 ounces.
I'm so dainty. That's interesting that that's allowed. But yeah, anyways, as far as boxing goes and UFC as well, I'm pretty sure anybody can fact check us on this, but I'm pretty certain you can just state your height and it is taken as truth, because Devin Haney is not 5'9".
I can look at him with my eyeballs. He's not giving more than 5'6".
He is not giving any more than 5'6".
It's giving very much Tory Lanez. He needs to use the fisheye lens in his picture. Yeah. A lot of sitting down photos.
Yeah. Oh, all sitting down photos.
He's a short king. Devin Haney, short king.
Also, nothing wrong with that. I love short kings.
I don't have a problem with the short king, but it is what it is. 5'9". I'm 5'10", and I promise you, if I was standing next to Devin Haney side by side, I'm much taller.
He would be up to your waistline. He would be eye level with your waistline.
This is not related, but it just reminded me, so I just have to say it. Did you see that clip of Diddy hugging Gervonta Davis and he lifts him up off the ground like a baby?
You're kidding.
Like, why would you do that to a grown man? I feel like that must have been the like most humiliating moment for, how would you imagine? Let's paint the picture here. You're a fighter. You're a good, respected fighter. You're at a celebrity function. You meet Diddy. I don't know if they knew each other. They just met. You say hi. He embraces you and hugs. He lifts you off the ground like a bitch.
That's emasculating. There is no better word for it. But do we really expect more out of P. Diddy? Look at how he looks at him afterwards. He's like, why did you do that to me?
That would keep me up at night. I would have been laying in bed like, why did Diddy pick me up a foot off the ground when he hugged me? And why did I let him? Like, that's a violation.
Okay, why did he let me is the bigger question. But you can tell he's looking at him. He's like sizing him up. He's like, did you really just, what do I say? It's P. Diddy.
Why would
I'm a fighter, so.
I am like a foot taller than you. I would never lift you off the ground.
That's hilarious.
Like, we should do it.
We should. we should make it and look at you like.
Yes, the Diddy and Javante. Okay, sorry. That was a total sidetrack off of Devin Haney, Short King. Javante Davis, also Short King. A lot of Short King boxers, but anyway.
That's actually funny because Javante is the one person who beat Ryan Garcia. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
So that's funny.
But yeah, Devin Haney, he got his ass handed to him last night. He got dropped. I mean, this isn't the real number of times, but it seemed like 80 times that he was dropped.
What did it end up being? It was like 6 different times, I want to say, that he was absolutely dropped to the floor. 4 in one round, right?
Yeah. I kept thinking that was it. This is the end of the fight. And it just kept going and going and going. I started to turn into like a conspiracy theorist where I was like, this is rigged. The ref has a bias, you know?
I was just going to say, so I am not, I'll speak for myself, but I think you're pretty similar. We're not super avid boxing fans. I am not a super avid boxing fan. I know you probably know more than I do. You at least know all the rules because you had to explain some things to me about it. But I picked up on the quote-unquote corruption that a lot of other boxing fans had been mentioning, specifically about this fight. But I have heard it many, many times before about how a lot of refs are very biased, a lot of the scorecards have bias on them. And it seems like the ref was bribed for legal reasons. That is a joke. I'm not accusing him or the network of anything corrupt at all. But I do see what boxing fans are saying and why a lot of them are switching over to MMA, because it was weird to be so hard on Ryan Garcia after Haney hugged him about 90 minutes out of the entire fight.
Yeah, a lot of clinching in that fight, a lot of clinching. Yeah, people say that the WBC, the World Boxing Council, is corrupt. That's like a rumor or a conspiracy. So if you are into those kind of ideals, you could say maybe they wanted Devin Haney to keep the title, to stay champion.
Of course they did, and he's lost to absolutely nobody. And I talked to a few other boxing fans who have been watching him specifically for a while, and they say he's only big because of his opponents. Whoever he's up against is the only reason why these matches are getting any views at all, because he waits it out until decision. Anyways, he hugs and hugs to stall, have the ref come over, break them up every single time, every single fight he's ever had, and then waiting for decision. I'm not sure if that's every single fight, but a majority of his fights have been decision.
I personally don't spend a lot of time thinking about like the corruption of it all or whatever. I don't really get that much into the conspiracies because the way I watch fights is very much just all vibes. Like, hey, I'm having a good time. So I don't really think about that. But if I were to lean into those kind of theories a little bit, I would say if you're having a champion that is representing your title, your company, Devin Haney is a better champion because Ryan Garcia is so unhinged right now. Like the things that he's saying, I mean, I don't know that WBC wants him representing them to be affiliated with that. So that's just a thought. That's just a conspiracy.
That might be why too. I could totally see that, and that's maybe why Devin Haney was treated like the untouchable golden child. They wanted him to keep the belt, and they also wanted to keep some good press. And Ryan Garcia is entertaining, but maybe not necessarily good press for the network.
But so Ryan Garcia couldn't get the belt anyway.
That sucks.
Because he was too much of a fat ass.
He was a fatty, yeah.
I'm fat shaming Ryan Garcia.
Yes. Sorry, Ryan Garcia.
3 pounds. The ironic thing about that is I had watched Ryan Garcia on the Howie Mandel podcast, and he was bragging to Howie Mandel about how easy it is for him to make weight, because he was bragging about like, oh, I've actually been drinking and all that stuff is fake and it's an illusion and it doesn't matter. And Howie Mandel said, well, isn't it actually not an illusion that you do have to make weight technically? And he was like, yeah, but that's easy work. And he was like, really, losing 5 pounds overnight is easy? And he was like, I could lose 12 pounds overnight. And he was like, really? He was like, no problem. So then for me to watch that and then days later see that he didn't even cut the 3 pounds.
That interview did not age well.
It did not
Unfortunately.
age well.
But it probably was because he had been in Vegas mere days beforehand getting married to random women. We'll get into that. But or getting engaged, I should say. He was probably just drinking the entire time. I bet you it was the alcohol. He underestimated how many calories the alcohol is, how much bloating it would do to him, and the water weight and everything. So that's probably what the extra 3 pounds was, just straight up vodka.
He's an expert. He's been at this since he was a little kid. He knows what he's doing. He either didn't care, I think, or he did it on purpose.
Why do you think he would do that?
I don't know. Is there an advantage to being bigger or heavier?
All I was hearing is that maybe he just didn't care at all because the belt is almost a participation award at that point, and he didn't care about it. He was doing all this, if we're saying that he was faking all the craziness and saying all these crazy things just to sell the fight. A lot of people are saying he was just in it for the money, and it didn't matter. The belt didn't matter to him.
Wait, can you look up the pay-per-view buys? I'm so curious what the buys were on this. Like, I want to know if it were all a ploy and a hoax. Did it work? How many buys did that pay-per-view?
That is super interesting. Okay, so it looks like
Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia.
you saw that, yeah.
1.2 million pay-per-view buys. So let's see.
$23 million from ticket sales. I'm reading that correctly, right?
Yes.
Wow. We don't have those numbers yet, but I am going to look at their estimated earnings from the fight. Somebody said Haney could potentially rake in $15 to $20 million. That seems insane.
And then I think Ryan had to pay him for the pounds he went over.
Was that a real bet? I thought it was a joke. They were actually serious? I cannot believe Ryan Garcia would be so cocky to say $500,000 per pound and then owe him $1.5 million. Oh my goodness. $1.5 million.
Per ESPN, Haney and Garcia made a handshake deal at their press conference that Garcia would pay Haney $500,000 for every pound he was overweight.
Oh no. So it is official. I thought it was just a joke.
I mean,
I wouldn't bet that.
if it's a handshake deal, I guess it's not like, I don't know if
it's not
legality or
not legally binding.
The court.
Could you? That would be hilarious. Yeah, that is absolutely insane. Obviously, it's not legally binding, but I think it's a man's bet.
Is it? Is there?
No,
And it was on TV at the press conference, and there's witnesses, and they.
Can we get some lawyers in the comments?
Lawyers, where you at? Let's talk a little bit about the outfits.
Oh, you know what I love? Little hoochie daddy shorts on Devin Haney. Going to a sneaky link after when you have a fight at 10 and a sneaky link at 12. Those looked comfy.
I'm not sure what Ryan was wearing last night, but I know in a lot of his fights he's been dressed by Dior and he's had great style. I think his fight outfits are amazing. And I get the vibes, like shout out to Jerry Lorenzo and Fear of God, like very cool streetwear brand who obviously like custom made Devin Haney's, like obviously his shoes were clearly Fear of God's and the shorts and the like hoodie that he had on earlier. But it was so strange for me to see someone in gray sweatshorts fighting. I feel like that's not aerodynamic.
That's not aerodynamic.
Like the weighing me down. Have you ever worked out in sweatpants and you feel like soggy and sweaty? Like,
yeah, it didn't seem, that was one of the first things I noticed, but I didn't want to sound silly. But I was like, is that even up to code? Obviously, they're allowed to, but they look like he's going to bed in them. It just doesn't feel like that'd be great to fight in.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jerry Lorenzo, but I think maybe that, I think that attributes to his loss. When I saw those sweatshorts, I was like, this guy.
Yeah.
I wanted him to win at first. I had my money on him because I thought this guy's focused.
Mm-hmm.
But then he came out in the sweatshorts and I was like,
Then he came out in the sweatshorts, which absorb sweat quite a bit. And then it looked like he pissed himself. And after that, it was all over.
And Ryan was a beast. Like, he looked good out there. He didn't look winded. I almost started to believe that he had worked all of us, that it was a joke, that he was playing mind games. Like, maybe he really was focused this whole time. And
yeah.
Maybe his management did pretend to be him on social media for 18 hours a day rambling.
That's very possible.
But then he went right back to it after the press conference. So I was like, okay, maybe this is just how he is now.
That was my telltale sign, was how is he going to act after this fight? Is he truly crazy? But maybe they realized it worked so well that they wanted to continue doing it. Regardless, I said from the very first round, he looks powerful. He looked good out there. He was on the offense the entire time. He was not trying to hide from Haney at all. Devin Huggable Haney was not hiding from him at all. He looked great. Every single round he looked great. There was no way that he shouldn't have won in my eyes. I'm so glad that he did. I would have never watched a boxing match ever again if he had lost.
Like, this is rigged.
This is rigged.
Yeah, I fully switched sides. I really went bandwagon. So historically, I have been a Ryan Garcia fan. Like, I'm not a diehard, boxing. I like to actually box. Like, I train boxing, but in terms of the sport and watching, it's been more exciting for me these past few years to watch UFC, but I do like all the big fights. So the really big fights I'll watch. And I watched a lot of Ryan Garcia fights, and there used to be people who hated on him the same way that they hate on Jake Paul, where but a little bit the opposite. Like, he does too much social media. Like, he was always a boxer first, but he was also very much like blew up from being a YouTube kid and doing TikTok and stuff. So there's a lot of old school mentality in boxing, especially in boxing media. They're like old heads. The demographic range is a little older than in MMA. So they're a little like, a real man should not be on social media, like,
Right.
you should be in the gym fighting if you really love fighting, whatever. But I loved it. I was like, yeah, this is great. This is marketing. This is how you get eyes on the fight. So I was always pro Ryan Garcia. He's entertaining. He's so talented, and he does great social media marketing. And honestly, he's very handsome.
So we were talking about that and how, disclaimer, we never look at fights and think, oh, that guy's attractive, or this fighter's really cute, or his physique is incredible in a thirsty kind of way. But I started to recently really dial in on it, and it was Alex Pereira that made me realize it. It was somebody else mentioned it.
Was it when he said, "Come to daddy"?
Oh my God. No, it was just him in the ring being stoic, and I love, a nice masculine man. And I looked at him and I was like, nobody talks about, well, because it's mostly male fight fans, but nobody really talks about, he's an attractive person. Ryan Garcia is a beautiful guy.
Very handsome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't get me started on Come to Daddy. Did you ever see that?
No, I heard about it.
Yeah,
I didn't see it.
After one of his fights, he called out Adesanya again, and he said, "Hey, Izzy, come to Daddy."
Hey, Adesanya, come to Daddy.
Daddy. And I was like, woo!
No, that's hilarious.
I made a TikTok, and I was like, I have never in my life wished I was Israel Adesanya until now. Come to Daddy. I was like, okay.
Definitely. Oh my gosh.
I don't thirst watch the fights, but Come to Daddy, that made me like,
come to Daddy.
That's I'm sure every other fight fan and their wives in the crowd. Ooh.
Okay, sorry about that. But yeah, Ryan Garcia's handsome. He's marketable. So I always appreciated him. He lost me in this fight. Like, the lead up to this fight, I thought it was too much for me. I got annoyed. I turned into the old heads. Like, you need to get in the gym and you need to focus on boxing. Go run. Get off social media. Put your phone down. Like, I turned into like the old man of boxing because I wanted him to just.
Didn't you unfollow him? During his tangent, you unfollowed him because he just posted so many times a day.
I went as far as, and keep in mind, I'm someone who loves combat sports and is building a brand about it. I muted his name on Twitter so that I would not see anyone saying his name.
No, you did not.
I needed a break. It was just like constant conspiracy theories. My whole For You page was that. And I kept feeling inclined to chime in. And I'm like, I don't want to. And I just was like, I need a break. And I wanted him to take a break so bad. I even commented it to him one time. I'm like, please, Ryan, it's okay if we just take a few hours without our phone. Please, I'm begging you. And I'm someone who likes Jake Paul. Like, I like the theatrics. I've said that before. I like the entertainment of fighters. It was overkill on that. I wanted a little less of that, a little more about the fight. So I was kind of cool on him, and I was like, yeah, he's not focused. I think I'm going to go for Devin in this one.
That's how everybody else felt as well. Obviously, the odds were definitely in Huggable's favor, and Ryan had just made it seem in every way that he was not prepared for this fight, that he wasn't in the gym. And who was it? His coach or somebody else mentioned that, Ryan Garcia, when he posts these things on his social media, it's 10 seconds out of the day. You don't see the other 23 hours of the day where he's training really hard and he's super locked in. But I don't know, because it's like 20 posts at 10 seconds each. They add up.
I would wake up in the morning and there would be 5 posts on the feed.
Right.
I'd see them all.
Not including all the story posts as well.
And then when I go to bed at night and scroll through my phone, do my doom scrolling late night, It was so crazy. But then by that first round, and he just came out swinging, and we were already screaming and cheering. I was like, okay.
He's in it.
I switched teams fast. I was like
Switched.
the little odds prediction like ticker on the screen.
Yep.
That was me. I was like, I'm switching sides.
Yep.
I changed my mind.
I can't remember which round it was, but I remember it popped back up on the screen, and it went all the way to Ryan's favor for a little bit. It was like half and half for a while. That's exactly how both of us are watching the fight.
I fully bandwagon, but to be fair, you can go back in time on my socials and see that I was a Ryan Garcia fan before he annoyed me.
Imagine we had 2 T-shirts on, one for Devin Haney, one for Ryan Garcia, and we just took one of them off, depending on.
I felt so bandwagon because I was like, okay, I'm about Devin in this fight. He deserves it. And I was like, I fucking love you. You're so good. You're so fucking good.
It could have gone either way. I'm glad it went that way, especially towards the end. I was upset.
I'm glad he won, but I'm just so surprised he didn't get a knockout.
Are we the only people that feel this way, or is it general consensus that fight should have been stopped way earlier, especially that round that had 4 knockouts? Should we not have stopped that? I mean, he was fine.
Knockdowns, yes.
He was ready. Sorry, knockdowns.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He was prepared to keep going. So maybe not, but he was really getting the shit beat out of him. And you could tell his eyes would roll back into his head. There were 2 of the knockdowns where his eyes just rolled right back into his head. Should he have been allowed to keep going?
I thought he was dead, but it just kept going. It went all the rounds. It was like so close, like by a point. But at least Ryan won. That would have been crazy if he didn't. If he knocked him down that many times and lost, I think we would have rioted.
I would have rioted. We watched it at a sports bar. Everybody else would have been losing their shit. And it was super close. It was by 1 point.
Also, at the sports bar we were at, someone decided to get in a fight of their own.
Oh, yeah? I have a video of it.
We went without it that out. He's like, oh my God, like I'm the one with potential. That's how
We're trying to watch both of them. We were like,
yeah. You know what it was? I got the lore on it. I wasn't able to tell you at the time because we were busy watching. There's not a lot of time in between the rounds. But it was not him fighting another man. It was him wanting to fight his girlfriend because she was there. I'm not joking either. She was there cheating on him with another guy. And he wasn't saying, let me at him. He was saying, let me at her. Let me at her. That's why he was pacing pissed. And of course, nothing will piss a man off more than maybe his girlfriend cheating on him. Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't. Were you saving it for the pod?
I was saving it. I was like, that's too good. That's too good. Yeah, so we were watching, and our eyes are going back and forth between the TV screen with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, and then this man and some random woman that we do not know. We're looking back and forth.
I am the nosiest bitch on the planet, so I really wanted to know what's going on, but there's no way I was going to miss this fight that I've been looking forward to for months.
Yeah.
I was just like looking back and forth, wishing that I had a split screen television to watch.
I know. I was like, can you like pause that over there and then resume your fight in between these rounds, please?
I'm actually surprised that the fight happened. So many times I thought it was going to be called off. Originally, I wanted to be there. I wanted to go to Brooklyn and be at the fight, but I never bothered to try to get a ticket or plan travel or anything because I'm like, this fight gets called off.
Right.
They're going to evaluate his mental health or he's going to do something too crazy. And it just never did.
Yeah. That's how I feel about a lot of fights. I'm too afraid to buy tickets sometimes because like the Conor McGregor fight, I almost bought tickets the second it got announced at 300. And I was like, it just doesn't feel official enough. I don't know if I want to get tickets. So I understand.
We should talk about some of these Ryan Garcia conspiracy theories that came up.
Let's get into our conspiracy theories. These are really fun. Okay, I do want to say ahead of time, trigger warning, because a couple of them are about sexual assault, the ones that he's talking about that are really, really big. I would like to mention those, so
I'm trigger warned.
Consider me trigger warned.
I want to go over some of the possibilities of like what could be even going on with him. So let's say he's 100% correct. He is a prophet of God. So that's what he's been claiming. He claims he was given the vision of Bohemian Grove. Do you know a lot about Bohemian Grove?
It's like a gentleman's club, kind of.
I only learned about it through Ryan Garcia because I was like, what the hell is Bohemian Grove? It's some like supposed like illuminati thing. Like,
so it is supposed to be just like a regular gentleman's club, but it is for elitists, of course. There's actually some of the members include 5 of our previous U.S. presidents. I don't know if you knew that.
No question. It's a club, like it's a physical space. Like
I want to say so, yeah.
When I was looking it up or something he was saying, because I was listening to a lot of his Twitter spaces, and it made it sound, or maybe this is just what I was
Like it was just an idea.
No, I thought it was in the forest.
Okay, so what you're talking about is they have a camp every year, and it's basically like a manly man kind of camp. Obviously, we could never know what's going on in there, but it's supposed to be like an elitist camp that they hold every single year, and it is supposed to be kind of barbaric, I want to say.
So a bunch of men go into the forest, and they're like powerful people.
That's my impression, yeah.
Did you ever see the show Yellow Jacket? These people like go off the rails and start wearing like animal skins and eating each other. Is it like that?
That's what I was doing research, and I couldn't find all that much about it for obvious reasons. So if he is talking about Illuminati stuff and it includes U.S. presidents and big, powerful people, totally believe that.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying what is or isn't real. I'm just saying here's the possibilities. Maybe he's correct. Maybe he is a prophet of God. Maybe he did see Bohemian Grove. Maybe the Illuminati is real. And he claims he's going to Congress to do something about it. And that's why he's like saying all this stuff that he's going to save everyone from the pedophiles, which, I mean, that's a very noble cause. But I don't know how you would do that. Like, you can't just like walk up to Congress and say, hey, no more pedophiles. Like,
Right.
I'm curious what his like plan of action is.
So I don't know if you saw the Twitter space of him and Andrew Tate, but obviously Andrew Tate is well-versed in dealing with those kinds of subjects. And Ryan Garcia was telling him, I'm untouchable. They can't touch me. The government can't do anything to me. And Andrew Tate was even telling him, listen, I care about you. They absolutely can touch you. So you have to be careful with what you're saying. You're making really big, audacious claims. And the one in particular they were talking about is how Ryan Garcia was talking about Bohemian Grove and how they tied him down, held him down, and made him watch little kids get sexually assaulted. That's what he was talking about, and saying that it happened to him as a young child as well, and that he wants to expose them and expose the industry and all of that. And I'm not sure how far he's gone with it yet. I haven't seen him go anywhere about it, but
yeah. Okay, here's the thing about that, the Bohemian Grove thing, because I'm the type of person, like, I'm not a very judgmental person. And if someone says something, even if it sounds wild to me, I'm not going to just be, like, ignorant and be like, that's not the truth, fuck you.
right.
So I was like, well, let me hear him out. What, something happened to him? Like, it's his story. Like,
No, I'm hearing him out all the way, and he says he has proof of the other children. He says he has proof of it happening to him when he was a child as well.
yeah, so he made all those claims. I hadn't discounted them at that point. And this point was before I was annoyed with him. So I listened to I didn't hear the Andrew Tate one, but I listened to pretty much all of his other Twitter spaces, and I was waiting for the proof. And a lot of people were kind of pushing him for that and asking him more questions. And some like big podcaster did an Instagram live with him and was like, I will fly to you right now to discuss this if you want to expose these people.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of was asking him the harder questions a little bit, like, when did they take you there and do this to you? How did you get there? Where were you? And he ended up saying himself in this, well, I wasn't physically there. I saw it in a vision when I was in San Francisco. So then that was when I stopped kind of like being like, oh, okay, well, this is like not really.
Is that in reference to Bohemian Grove and all?
Yeah, so he made it sound like he had physically been there.
He had made it sound like he had proof because he said the words, I have proof.
And I
multiple
was
times.
thinking, well, I've never been that famous or powerful, so I can't be like that. Illuminati's not real, right? You know, I don't know what I believe in that, so let me hear him out. But once he said, I was actually never physically there, I just saw it in a vision. From
You lost me there.
That's when I was like, okay,
You lost me.
yeah, okay. So that's one of them.
Mm-hmm. Sorry to him if that did happen. Not trying to sound insensitive, by the way.
Yeah, but if you say there's a huge, big difference for me between I was physically there and I experienced. I
Yeah.
believe any victim of anything.
Of course.
I was in a UFO. I was there. Whatever you're going to say, that's your experience. If you really went through it, I wasn't there.
Right.
But then if you say, well, actually, that never actually happened to me. I saw it in my mind. Well, that's different. I see a lot of things in my mind, too. Like, in my mind, I'm Kim Kardashian, you know?
Absolutely.
Another possibility is he has mental illness. He has been open about his mental illness issues in
He
the
has been.
past.
He took a year and a half off to focus on those as well. We don't know exactly what they are. I don't believe. I would say it would be something along the line of maybe not to diagnose, but maybe like a borderline personality disorder or something that's having him have these visions, if that's what he's really harping on, because that's been his big thing lately, has been seeing things, being a prophet of God. Like I said earlier, that lines up with some schizophrenia symptoms. So that would be really tough for him. And in that case, I feel just as bad than if anything actually did happen to him. That's horrible. It's a horrible thing to deal with, especially if he's unmedicated, if he's not in therapy, if he's not currently focusing on it, and has just been training for this fight without any mental health help.
I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this. I believe that what he was open about was bipolar and depression.
Mm-hmm.
But this, again, not to diagnose, I'm not a professional, but I do have a little bit of experience, just to tell you a little bit of my lore. My mother was an unmedicated schizophrenic. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the things that he did were very familiar to me. Once he lost me with the not physically being there and I found out it was a vision, then and a lot of the ideas he was having and the things he was describing are a lot in line with patterns that paranoid schizophrenics do have. A lot of them do have religious ideation. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you how that connects, but a lot of them do. They believe that they're God or they're sent by God or they have powers of God.
That's exactly why I'm claiming schizophrenia, because of the religious ideation.
So, me having that experience with my mother, my mom had a lot of these same, a lot to do with God and religion. Mm. And he even said something that my mom had said before, that she thought she could throw fire from her hands. Wow. He's mentioned something like that, when he fights, that there's fire from his hands. And also, I don't know if you know who Tila Tequila is.
I do. I do.
I had noticed in some of her videos after she went off the deep end, she also mentioned the thing about religion,
right,
and the fire of the hands. I'm this is I don't know what it is with the science of why they believe
absolutely
God and fire of the hands, but they all believe it.
It aligns really well with the paranoia as well. Like you said, paranoid schizophrenia. He is paranoid about absolutely everything. You believe that people are out to get you. That's one of the number one things that you'll hear, is that they're out to get you and you don't even know who they are. And in this case, he talks a lot about Bohemian Grove, and that is his they. They're out to get me.
And his age statistically lines up, because schizophrenia usually presents around age 23, 24. I believe he's 25. Somewhere around that age where you would have your first schizophrenic break, because it's not something that there's not childhood schizophrenics, really. It's something that usually presents in adults. So he would be honestly at the perfect age to maybe he had some mental health struggles in the past, and then now he's having his schizophrenic break, which,
they're usually manifest as episodes as well. It could be possible that he would be bipolar, but bipolar is a depression-based mental illness. So it's you go through manic episodes and you go through depressive episodes. And I think what we're talking about is way bigger than mania.
Then there's also the concept that he's just trolling to sell the fight, to get those pay-per-view eyes, to get eyes on the fight, to sell tickets. He did a great job of getting eyes on the fight. I had friends texting me who don't watch anything to do with fights, and they're like, what's going on with this Ryan Garcia guy? So he did a great job of getting press, and is it all just trolling?
I'm personal example. I'm a firsthand experience. I never watched boxing. I've watched maybe a few matches before, and this was the first one that I was super interested in. Because why? Because he sold the fight.
Yeah. So, did it work? Sometimes self-promotion is overkill. I've experienced that marketing my own things. Sometimes you got to do it to the death to get everyone's attention. And maybe someone who was already paying a lot of attention, like me, it was too much. But if you're doing it constantly like that, maybe the people who aren't paying attention get it. So maybe he's just a genius.
Super smart. I feel like we need to see when the pay-per-view statistics come out. I'd love to see how much he sold that fight.
Or was it a mind game to have Devin Haney think that he's out of the game, he's unfocused, so Devin doesn't focus as hard. Devin doesn't try that hard. He thinks, oh, I got this. I don't have to work as hard. This guy's fucking nuts. Easy work.
You should never, ever assume that as a fighter, because a lot of fighting and the entertainment part of it is psychology and trying to trick the other person.
That's true. I'm sure a lot of people would say never underestimate your opponent.
Of course, yeah.
Maybe not the mind game. Okay, then there's everyone saying he's just on so much cocaine with Oscar De La Hoya.
Well, that's good. What did he say about John Jones? We have to pull up that tweet. Love it. Also, John Jones is my second favorite fighter, so no hate to John Jones, but this is hilarious. He said, Ryan Garcia said, okay, hypothetically, hear me out. John Jones versus Ryan Garcia. We are both coked out. Who wins? First of all, John Jones is like 260 pounds.
John Jones, easy. That's
John Jones, easy.
easy.
Also, in what sport? And which one?
MMA. I think he wins no matter what.
He wins regardless. Absolutely. Are you kidding? He's goated. Not the Ryan.
Yes, Ryan, you're a fantastic boxer, but I think that John Jones would kill you.
And he's also 100 pounds heavier than you, no matter how much cocaine you have in your system. That's hilarious, though.
I've been doing cocaine. Like 2-week bender for...
Yeah. How good is the cocaine?
There's the theory that he is just cracking under the pressure of supporting his family. I've heard from a lot of people that his father's really intense on him and has been since he was young, and that he supports a lot of people financially. Like, yes, he's rich, but he's also responsible for supporting staff, like keeping this whole big operation going, staff, family members, and that the just tremendous pressure, maybe it's not like a born with mental illness, but it's just too much pressure that he's just fraying.
That could be traumatizing in many ways, and trauma tends to manifest in different mental illnesses, so it's very possible he's just under so much pressure from that. I didn't know that. He's supporting his family?
His family and his whole staff, and apparently the rumor is that his father is really hard on him and has always been, and even when he wants to give up, his dad won't let him, he can't take a break, that kind of thing.
He's young. Let's talk about that. Ryan Garcia is 25 years old. He's young.
He's been boxing since he was a child.
That's so much pressure. That's like toddlers and tiaras, where you make them do pageantry from the time they're 2 years old. That's tough.
A little bit of a stage dad.
Yeah, he's a stage dad, he is.
The other possibility is that he's demon possessed. He actually claimed it himself at one point. And I don't know if you remember this, but early on in all of this, he or somebody posted this screenshot we got him now, he's dead, R.I.P. Ryan Garcia, the demons have him, 666.
Oh, that gave me the chills.
You remember?
Oh, yeah.
A blurry picture that looked like he was running. I literally thought maybe he died, and no one heard from him for 24 hours. I still to this day don't know, where did he go for 24 hours? I was legitimately concerned. I wish that I personally knew someone to check on, hey, is Ryan Garcia okay? We haven't heard from him in 24 hours since someone posted on his social media that he's dead.
Especially with him faking his death. That's really concerning.
That was crazy. So then after that, he claimed that he was demon-possessed. I'm not sure what happened to that because it kind of conflicted with some theories that he had. At one point, he said, I'm demon-possessed, and that's why they're going to crucify me.
Why would a demon be crucified?
No, the crucifixion goes more along the lines when he says he's a prophet of God, or he claimed to kind of be the second coming of Christ in one of the Twitter spaces. So I don't know. That just conflicts a little bit with demon, because I thought demons are on the devil's side.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know we were out here crucifying demons, but I'm all for it. What else do you do with them?
But, Ryan Garcia is obviously religious. So to get into Christianity lore, I think that it's possible that demons are real.
Mm-hmm.
And it does say, in the Bible or whatever, that, they will masquerade as angels or try to confuse you that they're from God.
Right.
So to me, this is actually a realistic possibility. If demons are real, if you think that's possible, it's very possible that a demon could be tricking him that they are from God and the prophetic visions are from God, but they're actually not. I don't know how you would get demon possessed. I feel like that's something that you would have to conjure up or invite yourself somehow. Maybe it's a combination of things. He does have a background of mental illness. And maybe instead of dealing with that therapeutically, he started doing coke. And then maybe through the coke, he opened a portal to the demons.
Right. The coke was a gateway drug to demons.
To that kind of energy.
Normally is.
And then he became demon-possessed. And then the demon convinced him that he's a prophet of God. And then he just spiraled off the rail.
I am not discounting any of these conspiracy theories. A lot of them line up with things that a lot of other people have said before. This is not new information. As outlandish as they are, these are conspiracy theories. These are accusations and claims that people have made before. He is not the first to do them. And I grew up Christian. A lot of this sounds like genuine possession stories that you do hear about.
Another concept is that he is being recruited by the Illuminati, and all of this is a humiliation ritual.
To sell his soul so that he could have more fame? Yeah, I could totally see that.
But then if he was being recruited by the Illuminati, would he really say so much about the Illuminati? Wouldn't he just do the embarrassing things?
You would think so, right? Because I feel like if I were the Illuminati, I would slap him on the wrist with a ruler.
I personally don't really know if I believe in the Illuminati. I haven't personally had any experience with it, but I also haven't reached that level of fame. I have known a lot of famous people. I don't know. I personally don't know. I don't know how it works. But it's a possibility. It's something that people are throwing out there. And then lastly, this isn't necessarily a conspiracy theory about him, but this is something that he claimed I wanted to get into. He really went on for days and days and days that Prime hydration drink created by Logan Paul and KSI is killing children. And he was dying on that hill. He was very passionate about it. He said that. Prime, you could look anywhere. It's a direct quote. Prime is killing children. That is a big claim.
And you know how funny that is? Because the next day, who announced that they were sponsored by Prime?
Devin Haney. And then to see him in the fight with the big iced out Prime logo.
Yeah.
But he claimed it so much. And then he had an entire Twitter space dedicated to talking about Prime hydration drink. And I like Prime. I got it like when it launched because it's supposed to be like a healthier alternative to Gatorade. And I was like, oh, that's lit. And I got it at the local like Gym Bro supplement store. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, why is he so against Prime? He's like, the chemicals are giving them cancer and they're dying.
You're the one who told me this, but Prime apparently has less ingredients, less chemicals than even like Gatorade. So it is more of a holistic hydration.
It was driving me insane because I was watching the comments in his live, reading the comments, and everybody was just agreeing with him. And they're like, fuck that. I stopped drinking Prime because of you. And I'm like, just read the ingredients, please. And I kept asking him because I'd be in the lives and I was hoping he'd see my comment. And I'd be like, can you please tell us what ingredient it is that's killing the children? Because if you look at it, I wish I had Prime with me right now, but excuse me. It's primarily coconut water, and I believe there's an artificial sweetener in it, like sorbitol.
Surely there are, of course.
We're like, okay.
Okay.
Like, what? Like, red dye number 40 is probably killing them more. Like,
Of course. It's giving them ADHD and then killing them.
I am adamant that I do not believe that Prime is killing the children, and that's not just because I want a sponsorship, which I do. Logan Paul, if you ever hear this, I would do anything to be sponsored by Prime.
Sponsor
I'll do a humiliation ritual. I'll show my ass on this podcast to be sponsored by Prime. But no, I just don't believe that. I like facts, you know?
Well, that's the thing. You're talking about the internet. He could say anything to the internet, and we know firsthand that you could say anything online, and people take it at face value. They'll believe anything. I could go on TikTok right now and say, I'm actually 3'5", and everybody would be like, yeah. You are.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really trust his following to know how to look up a nutrition label.
If Logan Paul wanted to be petty, he could probably sue him because that is a
Absolutely
verbatim claim. It wasn't allegedly. He was just like, facts on facts on facts.
That's
Prime is killing children.
Genuinely damaging to the brand, and he could prove that in 2 seconds in court.
Loss of sales because I personally saw them. People saying, I stopped drinking that today.
Absolutely. You said all of his fans were like, oh, fuck that, I'm not drinking it anymore. That is proof of loss of sales.
Prove me wrong. Name to me one child that died from a sip of Prime.
Name one. That's what we should have said. That's my favorite thing to say.
What? That one's unbelievable to me. Nobody died from Prime. No one's going to die from Prime. They are dying from Panera Supercharged Lemonade. That's a whole nother story.
Let's worry about some different beverages. There's some bigger things to worry about. On a lighter note, let's talk about, Savannah Bond, his ex-fiance of 2 days.
Are they married? I thought they got married in Vegas.
Did they get married?
They said that was his wife, I believe.
Oh, goodness. If I believe the posts are taken down now in the stories, if I'm not wrong. But Ryan Garcia woke up one day, got engaged to a Playboy model and porn star, Savannah Bond. I believe she's also pregnant at the very moment.
By him?
Not by him.
Oh.
I think they just met. Or maybe by him. Not my business. But so apparently he got engaged and married to Savannah Bond in Vegas, had a big bender. That's why he's fat now, because of the bender. But the post has been since taken down, so Maybe his PR manager was like, okay, this is too much. The demon stuff is fine. You being married is not fine.
Yeah. Also, he hard launched Michaela Testa for a couple of days. I don't know if you saw that.
I love her.
I'm a fan of her. She's so hot.
She's very beautiful. I didn't see that at all, no.
Yeah, he started, and when all of this started off, that was the first one. He hard launched her. He was like, "This is my girlfriend." I'm gonna paraphrase the caption, but I'm pretty close to what it actually said. So it was a picture of him and Michaela Testa on FaceTime, and he goes, "This is my new girlfriend, Michaela Testa. She's an OnlyFans model, and if anyone has a problem with it, seek help." It was like something like that, and I was thinking like, that's a weird way to hard launch someone. If I had a guy hard launch me and be like, "If you have a problem with her, like," I'd be like, "Wait, why are you assuming people would have a problem with me?"
That's insulting.
Yeah.
Why do they have a problem with
What's
me?
the problem? Obviously, I know what the problem would
Right,
be.
but if
So for your man to say that like that, like, it's just like, yeah, it's kind of like those vibes where like, yeah, sure, I could get a hotter girlfriend, but I love her. Like, I know.
I know that she's a total slut online, but she's my slut. So, like, okay, dude, nobody said that. What's wrong with you?
Well, they will say that.
They will say it.
But the thing is, I just feel like that's not how you should present it when you know the person.
Everybody else has seen her body too, but listen, I love her anyways. She's one of the hottest people on the planet, by the way.
She's so hot. I believed that one, and then like 2 days later, we never heard about her again, and he just started launching other OnlyFans girls. I almost started to wonder if OnlyFans was advertising through him to promote their girls.
That is extremely possible.
Maybe it's just a bunch of marketing geniuses on our hands. I don't know.
I actually would not be surprised. Either he's genuinely crazy or he is the best actor that we've ever seen.
He deserves an Oscar award if this is all fake.
Multiple Oscars.
That's it for today. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Sports Bimbo podcast, brought to you by the Bespoke Network.
You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, X, and all other socials at Sports Bimbo. And please leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Bye for now.